Everyone who wanted all the Chaim got all the Chaim, and see this whole side of the table looks. Avi Fogel, welcome to the show. You got all the Chaim?
I'll take the Chaim.
You'll take good. It's not a peer pressure. I'm just saying it's not.
There's shot down there. You're reading? Hold on. Before it leaves this side.
All right. So I'll say incredible schos Baruch Hashem to be able. It's been a little while. Baruch Hashem that feel like it's been a couple of weeks since we've had this year, so really it has been a couple of weeks, right?
Mm-hmm. At least 3.
At least 3 weeks. Okay, so Baruch Hashem, it's a great zichus to be able to resume our limud together. Before Steve thanks our sponsors, a tremendous shkoyach to Tzvi Friedman. We're really
no wings,
no wings, and this is super Heimish. We've gone from wings to cholent and stuffed cabbage. Right, that's right, mamish. So
the cholent is made with mikvah water.
That's beautiful. if you taste something,
wait. Rabbi, from the new mikvah.
All right, beautiful. Our sponsors for tonight.
Sponsors are Yehuda Bookwalter for co-sponsoring in honor of the yahrzeit of his grandmother, Esther Rachel Bas Chaim HaKohen. Rosh Hashanah, the yahrzeit is actually tonight, tomorrow.
Yehuda. Thank you.
And me, also in the yahrzeit, but of my grandfather, Mishul Ben Nassim, the yahrzeit is also tonight and tomorrow. And for the safe return of the hostages and the chayalim and Gaza.
Amen. So incredible, Chabur. What? I'm going to edit that out. I'm going to edit out the big word. As well, say really such a schus to be back with everyone. So what I'd like to do, Amir Hashem, for the next couple of weeks is actually I got a beautiful gift the other day, all the way from Eretz Yisrael. Greg Levitan, you remember Greg Levitan used to live here, sent me this gift called the Haggadah's Piacezna. So it's a Haggadah of Pesach. With I want to be clear, the Rebbe didn't write a perush on the Haggadah, but what someone did was they just took the Rebbe's Torahs on Pesach and on Haggadahs from different sources and compiled it into a Haggadah. So I'm very excited about this, super excited about this. So I figured, you know what, we have 3 weeks, three shiurim still until Pesach. So I thought, with your permission, or even without your permission, I thought in Meretz Hashem we're gonna focus. I'm nervous to go ahead and I was actually subsequently told that you could get it here in town, also in the Sfarim stores, but I had not seen it before. But okay, I don't think it's in English. I don't think so. But the truth is, you never know. It looks. I think it's relatively brand new. So I'll say so. So we're going to take a little bit of a. I hate to take a break from Tzav Zeros because the truth is, we were gaining a little bit of momentum. But Amir Hashem, I think it's important to begin our achonis for Pesach, and I think to begin our achonis with Amir Hashem the Piacezna. So I made copies. So again, here I'll pass them out. Should be enough. It's one double-sided page.
What an audible.
Yeah, right. I think it's great audible. I think it's the right thing.
This is the right call.
This is the right call. I feel like often in life I'm not sure if I'm making the right call, but this. Thank you.
I know he hates football. That's why I'm using
football, wings, dogs.
I'm sorry. No, I don't always make the right call. This one. I figured you can't make a wrong call with the Piacezna.
Right.
So whatever it is, it's never going to.
You're like better than Tom Brady.
Who's that?
I know.
It's up there with chicken wings. Tom Brady eats chicken wings.
I'm sorry.
Kenny Rogers?
Kenny Rogers.
That was one of the greatest mornings.
Who's that?
That was the Purim morning.
Okay, it's a go. Good.
Purim morning too. Yeah.
I can't stop thinking that.
References than I do.
Looking for holiness in all the wrong places.
They're all dated. Like looking for holiness in all the wrong places.
No. As Chazal says, if you can't be with the one you love, the one you hate.
Right.
A lot of incredible Ma'amari Chazal. All right. So I'll say. So tonight, hopefully, Meretz Hashem will get to do 2 pieces. The first piece I want to do is on the page titled Ahava al Miftan Hachag. So we'll say, so this I thought was just, so literally it means love at the entranceway or the threshold to the Yom Tiv. So I just thought that this was such a beautiful piece. Because we'll say, I think as we've begun to see in general with the Piazetzna's Torah is the Rebbe's Koach wasn't per se in like coming up with some type of novel idea that no one ever heard about, but rather it's being able just to speak to our souls, speak to our hearts, speak to our souls. Sometimes like just even with the most pashut and simple ideas. So I thought I was very taken by. I really just started learning this now. I was just very taken by this piece, and I think also as kind of like we head into the Yom Tov of Pesach, and there's a lot of Pesach preparation, Baruch Hashem, ahead of us. This, I think, will help to frame all of that preparation in the right way. So look what the Rebbe says. So I'll say, just to point out to you, this is a piece that is taken over here from Chovas HaTalmidim. We actually learned Chovas HaTalmidim before Daf Yomi in our Musar Seder, right, a long time ago. I think it was last cycle, whatever, a long time ago. So look what the Rebbe writes. Pesach. As the days of Pesach approach, Yamim she'inam besod yemosa olam hazeh. I will say, now you just have to appreciate the words. He said, these are days that literally, they're not part of this world. They're not part of this world. They're part, the days leading up to Pesach, it's a different, or I should say Pesach itself, it's a different type of day. So the days of Pesach themselves are almost like an otherworldly experience. As these days of great light approach, shel simcha v'shiras Gan Eden, days of joy, and days in which you could hear the song of Gan Eden. It's just like, sometimes someone says something, and you're not even sure exactly what it means, but you say to yourself, oh my gosh, that's the most beautiful thing that I've ever heard. Never in my life have I ever heard someone describe Pesach as days of light, days that are of the world to come, days of simcha, and days that have the music of Gan Eden. Incredible. Kineshama b'maram gam nafsho ata ela Gan Eden sho'efes v'ala Pesach mishtokekes. Shabbos is beautiful. The same way that the neshama, the soul, yearns to go back to Gan Eden. Right? The soul yearns to go back. We saw this before. Our other Rebbe, Baruch Shem Chassidus, could have many Rebbes. So our other Rebbe, Levi Yitzchak Rebbe Ditch of Zechusa Yagin Alinu. The Rebbe says on the Pasuk, I know that I mentioned this in the past. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Kol HaNeshama Tahalel Ka. So which literally means every neshama, every soul will praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Zohar writes, B'chol Neshima u'Neshima Tahalel Ka. With every breath, you should praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Rebbe says, what does it mean that every breath you should praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So the Rebbe says, this is incredible. He says, the neshama yearns to get out of the body, and yearns to get out of this world, and yearns to ascend heavenward. That's where the neshama came from. That's where the neshama wants to go back to. So it says something amazing. Every single time a person exhales, the neshama yearns to get out. The neshama's like, this is my chance. Like, this is my chance. It's like the jailbreak, right? This is my chance. There's an opening. There's an exhale. I could go. And with every single time we exhale, HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes ahead and keeps the neshama inside. He says, no, it can't go anywhere. That's what it means. Kol neshama tahalal ka, b'chol neshima u'neshima. With every breath, you have to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because with every single breath, the neshama wants to leave, and ultimately, again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps it in. So the Piacezna says, in the same way that the neshama wants to perpetually return to Gan Eden, so the Gemara says, so gam nafsho ata el hagan Eden sho'efes v'la Pesach mishtokekes. The same neshama yearns to get back, ultimately again, to get back to. I'm gonna check that he's okay. He just ran out. Maybe just text him. Maybe just text him. So I will say, the same way, ultimately again, that the neshama yearns to get to get to Gan Eden. The neshama also yearns to get to Pesach. Isn't that beautiful? The neshama yearns to get to Pesach. Yom v'yom miskarev. So I will say, so what happens every single day as we lead up to Pesach? We're talking about these days between Purim and Pesach. So every single day we get closer. Gufo kvar mechin bepol esarcha chag v'kashruso. So the body, right? Physically, we're going ahead and we're preparing the details for Pesach. Right? That's what we're engaged in. The nafsho kevar mischamemes keneget oro hamafil merachok. The wording is so beautiful. My soul warms itself by the light of Pesach, by the fire of Pesach, even though it's so far away. So the body, physically, we're preparing ourselves for Pesach already now, and spiritually, the soul is already warming itself by the distant light of Pesach. And certainly, again, by the time we get to Bedikas Chometz, Diricha Rishona Al Miftan Achag. Really, Bedikas Chometz, I will say, is the first time kind of we pass over, or we step onto the threshold of Yom Tov. Right, before Bedikas Chometz, which is Erev Pesach, right? Before Bedikas Chometz, ultimately, again, the body's preparing, the soul is warming itself by the beautiful fire of Pesach from a distance, and comes the night of Bedikas Chometz. That's the first time that I take a step on the threshold of Pesach. He goes on, he says, Kidoshenu Zichrono Livracha Amru, Shechaga Pesach Hu Bechinas Ava. So we'll say, here comes the Yesod. The Rebbe writes that our Kiddoshenu, our great Rabbanim, our great Rebbes, said that the essence of Pesach is Ava. Pesach is a Yom Tov which highlights or embodies the love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for us. Now, both say, the truth is, this is not a unique concept, right? We've seen this before, right? On a most basic level, why does Pesach represent the love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for us? Why? He's Yisrael, right? He took us out of Egypt. In other words, we were enslaved. Steve, is that right? Yeah? Okay. We were enslaved, and ultimately, again, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out. So, again, that's love. That's love. So I'll say, so that's not unique. The way the Rebbe frames it is incredibly unique. Why is Pesach love? Bechinas Ava means the essence of Pesach is love. Listen to what he has to say. This is incredible. V'ish belev atum yeshev v'yachkar limso tam usvar lamadaf ka'ava. We'll say these are great words. He says a person with a closed heart is going to sit and try to analyze the reason why Pesach is Ava. What do we call a person with a closed heart who has to analyze why the essence of Pesach is Ava? What do we call a person like that? Right, a misnagid, right? So what's going to happen? Right, very close. Why is everyone looking at Chemya? Right, so it's okay. It's good. We had to fill a quota. For government funding. So Baruch Hashem. What do they call it? What's when you? DEI.
OFCCP.
Right. This is our DEI, right? We have a misnagid here. All right. Okay. So here we go. So listen to this. So he says, a person would like, okay, so now you told me it's Ava, so let me sit down and analyze. The Rebbe says, Aval hu eno tzarech lachkor ulevakesh remazim. The Rebbe says, the Ava of Pesach is not something that you are going to discover through the koach of intellectual analysis. That's not how you're going to discover the love of Pesach. Rather, he says, Ki ba'alil margishu b'libo es kol mitzvos ha-Pesach zihirusav v'dikdukav. So we'll say this is incredible. And we'll say, at first glance, this is going to sound totally counterintuitive, but it's actually incredibly amazing. How does one come to feel the love of Pesach? One feels the love of Pesach through all of the obligations of the day. All the obligations of the day. Right? When you begin to feel in your heart all the mitzvahs, right? I will say, Pesach has a lot of mitzvahs. Zihirosav, all the things we have to be careful with. Dikdukov, all of the details. The love is felt in all of the mechanistic details, all of the preparations, all of the chumras, and all of the halachas. I will say, you look at this at first glance and say, what? Yeah. Right? I say, like, often... You have a lot of work. Right, often it's just the opposite. In other words, that I'll say, you think about it for just a moment. Probably, I would think, and maybe just because we're still in the afterglow of it, like, one of the days when it's easiest to feel the love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is when? Purim. It's interesting. Really like Purim and Chanukah. Right? Why? Why is that? There's not a lot to do. There's really not a lot to do, right? What do you have to do in Purim? Right? So davening is a little bit longer. Right? But other than that, you walk around with a box on your head, right? Some people do that all the time, right? Certain people on any given day. Right? But Lamaisa, it's easy. So I often think because it's easy and because there aren't a lot of, for lack of a better term, like really intense and sometimes overbearing details, it's easier to feel the love. And the Piacezna comes along and says, no. The love on Pesach is felt in the details. In the chumras, in all the things you have to do. Clean out this, do this, eat this, don't eat this. You have to eat this in this amount of time. That's where the love comes out. What's the pshat? This is such an incredible insight. He says, Lo bilvad kimelech shegozer alavadav. The Rebbe says, because when you look at the strictures and you look at the obligations of Pesach, how do you view it? He says, don't view it as a king who is commanding his servants. So we'll say, by the way, this is also part of the beauty of when we've been learning the Piacezna for a while now already. And what's beautiful to see is overlapping themes in the things that we learn, right? What was the beginning of Bnei Machshava Tova? What was the whole point of Bnei Machshava Tova, the beginning? What? He's okay? What? Something happened?
He's coming back.
Okay. Okay, good, thank you. So at the end of the right, what was the beginning of Bnei Machshava Tova? What was the beginning? Be a son, not a servant. You see, the Piacezna constantly reinforces this idea. You could serve God as a king and you could be the servant. But remember what the Piacezna say? The king's over here, the servant's over here. By definition, you're not close. So the Rebbe says, when it comes to Pesach, and I will say, to me, I have to tell you, this piece, it changed my Pesach already. And we're still like 4 weeks out. So this is going to be a good yontiv. So listen to this. He says, when you come to the details of Pesach, it's not like a king commanding his servant. Rak, gam ke'av hachovek es beno hakatan. This is so beautiful. How do you look at Pesach? Pesach is like a father hugging his young son. Umitoch chavivus, and because of that love for his son, umitoch divrei ava v'shidul, omer lo asena zos v'zos. So I will say, when a father loves his son, so what does a father do? What does a father do? Father, what?
Gives him hadracha.
He gives him hadracha. He says, do this. Fellas, what I'll tell you, like when my sons got married, before they got married, I asked them mechila. Because I said to him, I know that I am an overbearing father. I know it. And I know that I pushed, and I know that I demanded, and probably at some times, like a little too intensely and a little bit too much. But just know that it's always out of love. It's never chas v'shalom out of anger, never chas v'shalom out of anything negative. It's because sometimes we'll say that's the job, the primary job of a father is not to be his kid's friend. That's not the job of a father. The job of a father is to give his son direction. And especially when the child is young, we'll say parenting is a little bit different today. But like when I was a kid, in the shtetl, in Piacezna, when I was growing up in Piacezna, I was like, so it used to be that like it was understood that the job of a father is to tell his kid what to do. That's the job of a father, not to ask the kid, what do you think we should do? There's no like art of collaboration in parenting at an early age, right? You don't collaborate with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, right? The job of a parent is to say, you do this and you don't do this. And this is how you do this. Now, of course, it presupposes that the parent knows what they're doing in life and what they're doing in their Yiddishkeit, which sometimes is a major presupposition as well, right? But Lamaisa, I will say, that is the job of a father. And if a father does the job correctly, even when he's quote-unquote ordering his son around, the son realizes, my father's helping me. He's pointing me in the right direction. I have a choice in life. I could wander around and hopefully try to figure things out at some point in time. Or I can get hadracha from someone who knows what he's doing. And he's going to tell me what to do. He's going to tell me how to do it. And through that, he's helping me hopefully to avoid so many mistakes, so many pitfalls. So sometimes when the father gives orders to his son, when we think about orders, we think about like iron fist, right? That this is a melech, this is a king. No, it's not. It's the greatest demonstration and manifestation of love. When you love someone, you want them to be successful. And sometimes, again, especially when the child is young, the way that the father hopes to ensure the child's success is by giving him clear rules, clear directions, and clear guidance. Says the Piacezna. That's Pesach. Pesach is... See, I will say, doesn't this change you just from the beginning? We always look at Pesach as like, oh my gosh, it's like a whole bunch of do's and don'ts, right? And do this and don't do this and this and this and this. And yet the Piacezna says, no, you want any good?
Yeah, I thought someone was breaking in my house.
Okay.
He was banging on somebody else's door. My brother's home alone, so I
okay.
can't take a risk.
Everybody's all right, though?
Yeah.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay.
I was just giving him now.
I mean, I don't need one. That's what happened.
Yeah, no. Okay, good. So I'll say, so now, here's what's incredible. So when it comes to Pesach and you have all these details, the Piacezna says, what are the details of Pesach? It's Abba, it's Father telling us, here's what you need to do to be successful in life. Do this, but Abba, it's so much, and it's so arduous, and it's so difficult, and it's so overwhelming. Okay, Abba says, I love you, and I want you to be successful in life. And here are the things you have to do in order to be successful. Mitoch chavivos, umitoch ava, because Father loves us. V'shidol, omer lo aseina zos v'zos. Do this. And here's what's incredible. Once I understand, as a son, not as a servant, as a son of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, once I understand that, wow, when my father is giving me this whole list of stuff I have to do for Pesach, he's giving me hadracha. He's giving me guidance. I will say, embedded in the details of preparation for Pesach and Pesach itself, the Piacezna is positing, are all the life lessons I need in order to be successful. Pesach is my chinuch from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he tells me to do this. And you're right, it's not collaborative. I mean, it is collaborative. He asked me to do it and I have to do it. But Lamaisa, it's not a discussion because Abba knows better than the Ben. And so when Abba says, do this, he's giving me hadrach. He's giving me that guidance out of love. Listen to this. He says, Va'ben b'chol kol choratz. What is the son's reaction? The son runs with all of his strength to fulfill the will of the father. Why? Os'umabit al aviv. He does. He looks at his father. Ve'in daito miskareres ba'asiyosav min ava v'iras hakavod. Umosif ba'atzmo dvarim b'mitzvas aviv. Samach oseh umosif ava. So what happens? It's beautiful. The moment the son realizes this, he's like, okay, I'm in. Father's giving me direction. Father is giving me hadracha. I will say, it's very normal. It's very normal often for children to kind of look back. No one's perfect. And we recognize, we hope that our parents try their best. But I think often people look back and they wonder why didn't my parent give me a bit more direction? Right? For some people, my parent gave me too much direction. Some of my parents didn't give me enough direction. But sometimes you look back, you're like, I could have avoided a lot of life mistakes had a parent put me on a little bit of a different path. Not necessarily made decisions for me, but given me a little bit more hadracha. Well, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the ultimate parent. And as the ultimate parent, he gives us all of the hadracha, all of the guidance we need. And I will say, this hadracha, and it makes sense, when does the primary chinuch, when does the primary hadracha of Abba, of Father, to us as Jews come? When does it come? Pesach. Why does it come Pesach? Because Pesach is when we become free. Right? Pesach ultimately, again, is when we are given the gift of autonomy, self-determination, and freedom. So Chassidus Baruch Hu says, now, when you're a slave, let's say, what's the good news of being a slave? Good news of being a slave?
Decisions.
You don't have to make any decisions. You can't really get yourself in all that much trouble. I will say that's why if you look at, what's wrong?
It's kind of like being married.
That was Adam Edelman.
Adam Edelman, Edelman.
He lives in 6'5", 1'3".
Wow. Yeah, just joking. That was a good one. Anyway, as we were saying, by the way, just so you understand, by the way, you're making two chassidus,
Can you imagine if the Piacezna was writing a sefer and put in all the call-outs?
Yeah, that is correct.
Rabbi, I do have a serious question.
Yes.
What role, because a lot of the things the Pesach are brought down, the rabbis gave all the different halachas.
Hold on to excellent. Hold on to it for just a second. So I just want to point out, if you look at the narrative in the desert, right, every single time something goes wrong, the Jews say, let's go back to Egypt. If you think about it, it's totally counterintuitive, right? I'd rather die in the desert than go back to Egypt. Egypt was horrible. Egypt was terrible. So let's say, because deep down, remember again, every single time there's a crisis, they have to respond. Formulating a response in the moment of crisis is an incredibly difficult thing. The beauty of slavery is you never have to formulate a response to anything because you're not in charge of your destiny. You're not in charge of your life. Someone else is making your decisions. There is no chinuch, there's no hadracha by slavery because you're chattel. You're chattel. You're just a beast of burden. So it makes sense. Pesach, which is the time of Zman Cherusenu, emancipation, Chassidus Baruch Hu says, now you're free. Now Abba, Father, has to give you hadracha. And that's all the details. Now, to Adon David's place, we'll say, and now all of this fits together so incredibly. We'll say, there is no Yom Tiv that has as many halachas as Pesach. There is no Yom Tiv that has as many chumras, stringencies as Pesach. I will say, I'll tell you, one of the things I'm always astounded by, I hear a new chumrah every single year. Again, I don't mean made up. I mean there's a minhag that someone has like to do this. I'm like, really? And you look it up, yeah, it's there. Let's say it's incredible. Literally another chumrah every single year. Another chumrah every single year. You remember again, it wasn't so long ago. When did people start eating quinoa on Pesach?
That's 15 years.
Was it 15 years? It's relatively recent, right?
Now we have a shalshut.
So now we have shalshut. That's right. Now it's a staple, right? So lemaisa, that is right beneath wings, by the way. Anyway, so lemaisa. I'm just kidding. That's kidding. Right? So lemaisa. What's interesting is like even with quinoa, right? There's like a machlokes. Like there are people like it doesn't even make. I'm not saying it's not a great. Like, it's so interesting. Like how does that even get rolled into anything? So why all the chumrah? So the Piacezna will say like this. Remember, I'll say, what's a chumrah? What's a chumrah? What's a stringency? What's a chumrah? Right? Yes, Bob saying, why does a person create a chumrah on something? A fence, a gather. It shows you care. In other words, there's something important here. I want to make sure I do it correctly. I don't want to transgress. So I create this own self-imposed layer. So the Piacezna says, watch this. Pesach is the Yom Tov where Abba, Father HaKadosh Baruch Hu, gives us our chinuch, gives us our hadracha. That hadracha, that guidance of do this, is the way He shows us the right path in life. That's through halachas that He gives us. We are so eager for that chinuch, and we are so eager for that hadracha that what do? We add on extra layers in order to reinforce the lessons that Abba is giving us. That's why Pesach has so many stringencies, to reinforce the lessons that Father is giving us now that we have reached the age of chinuch, so to speak. I will say, when you begin to look at it that way, like, the whole thing just takes on a different urgency. He goes on, look what he says. He says, B'chol achanos Pesach, most here, Adam David, here it is, you're mechaving to the Piacezna. Yeah, that almost atones for your marriage comment. He says, with all the preparations for Pesach, mosif chumras v'dikduke dinim. So I'll say we add on all of this stuff, right? Pesach is the halachos of Pesach are enough as they are. Yet we add on extra stuff. But listen to this lashon. He says, "Mehargashas nafsho es avas avishe b'shamayim." You know why we add on extra chumras? Because I feel the love. This is incredible. The stringencies, the self-imposed stringencies, are a result of the love that I feel from my Father. I recognize that He's giving me tremendous life lessons. He's giving me chinuch. He's giving me proper guidance in life through all of the halachas, and I'm so desperate and yearning and pining for that guidance that I add on even extra layers to it. He says, right? Shabbos, listen to this. He says, "Gam b'makom shemachnisin, gam b'makom she'ein machnisin mochametz." Shabbos says, so what happens? Places I do bring chametz to, places I don't bring chametz to. Bekulam hu bodeku mechapes. Right? We check for chametz everywhere. Shabbos says, so now rotzehu lahachnis gam kul l'chor mustakim. I try literally again to get my entire self, to squeeze my entire body, right, into the crevices, into the holes, into the nooks, into the crannies, looking for chametz. Kovetzu ala tanor. I jump on the oven, right? I jump on the oven, right? I will say, Pesach, like if it doesn't move, it gets covered with tinfoil, right? If it doesn't move, right? You stand still long enough in the Jewish home leading up to Pesach, you are going to be covered in tinfoil, right? So Lamais again, I jump on the oven, I'm cleaning out the oven. Machnia v'dochek asmal tachas hamita. I'm crawling like a crazy man underneath the bed, right? Now, by the way, I just want to point out, most of this stuff is unnecessary. You don't have to look behind the oven for anything. You don't have to look under the refrigerator for anything. You don't have to look under the bed for anything. You're not obligated yet. That's what we do. Like we push ourselves. Why? Ki halev oreg v'daito ena miskareres. Because I will say, what my neshama understands is that the halachos of Pesach, the strictures of Pesach, that's the hadracha, that's the guidance, that's the direction, that's the chinuch, that's the education that I am getting from the Ribono Shel Olam. That's what it is. And I'm so desperate to inculcate those lessons within myself and to retain them that what do? I'm adding on chumras. I'm adding on. Why the stringencies there? The stringencies are there. It's almost like it's my. I don't want to use the word desperate, but like desperate attempt to hold on to all the lessons, to guard them inside me, and to make sure I'm getting every single last morsel of education, of chinuch, of guidance, of hadracha from my Father. Ume'ato, kimat kashalo kvar ledaber dvarim she'enim minyanei Pesach. This is incredible. What's interesting? As it gets close, it's also fascinating. As it gets close to Pesach, all anyone talks about is Pesach. Isn't it incredible? Like, you don't have this for any other yontif, literally, again. And I will say, if you think about it, by the way, right, it impacts everything, right? There are going to be certain products you're not going to be able to get shortly because Pesach is coming. Like, really? Like, it's 2024, I know Pesach, I will say, because Pesach overtakes everything. It overtakes everything. He says, "Lahachin ala Pesach, lahagil kelim," to prepare for Pesach, to kasher kelim, liknos ma'al Pesach, to buy whatever we need. Zeu kol diburav v'machshavosav ubekulo kvar shakur ubepesach. Pesach overtakes everything. Umosif ata limodine Pesach vinyanav remazov seder. So also even look now, right? We start to learn about Pesach, right? We're learning about the halachos of Pesach. We're learning the Haggadah, right? We're learning Inyane Pesach now. Everything. And again, what we do with bedikas chametz, right? Bedikas chametz, and I will say again, like that chametz, when you finish bedikas chametz, right, and you have that bag of chametz. You know what that's like. That is like, I don't even know like what you would compare it to, like in the world, like where are you putting, where are we putting that, right? No, not here. I will say again, I just want to point out, if you take the paper bag with your chametz and you put it on your box of shmura matzah, halachically you're okay. Right? There's nothing's happening. Yet I will say, when I said those words, you were almost ready to put down your fork. Almost. Nobody Chas v'Shalom did it, right? Right? But in other words, like you think about that's like apikarsus. I think so. I would never eat matzah. That a bag of chametz touched the box of the matzah, would never eat it. Never say now. When you kind of like play that statement back, like, well, why not? I don't know. Why wouldn't I eat that? Right? But no, I would never. I'll say why. That's the intensity that Pesach takes on. It's all consuming. He says, "Yesh lo kvar matzah bebeso, af shel shmura, aval bizman shebeis hamikdash kaimu apaltu namelach dareinu." Banu b'shazwell heichal kadsho v'kran l'karban. So we'll say, again, I have my matzah in my house already. Not yet, but hopefully soon. But it's important to remember that when the Beis Hamikdash stood, right, Erev Pesach, we'd go to offer up the Karban Pesach. Es hod kidushas avinu malkeinu ayin ba'ayin ra'inu. And I will say, the Mishnah and Pesachim describes what the Beis Hamikdash looked like on Erev Pesach. It was packed. Shifts of people offering up their pack on the Karban Pesach. The Leviim singing Hallel, the Kohanim singing Hallel, the people singing Hallel. Incredible. The Yachad and Chavatzelas HaSharon, Knesset Shabamaro, all Yidden together. Shira Sharnu, we sang Hallel, we sang beautiful songs. The Hallel El Melech HaKavod Zimarnu, and we sing Hallel. V'ata HaKol Milkach Meitanu. I will say, unfortunately now, we don't have that. We don't have a Beis Hamikdash right now, so Pesach is different in that way. But even though Pesach is different in that way, watch this. Aval avinu me'az gam atalanu es avaso ve'esiraso. See, I will say the beautiful part is, even though we don't have a Beis Hamikdash and we don't yet have a Karban Pesach again, we still have the core of Pesach intact, which is the love, the chinuch, the education, and the hadracha and the guidance that our Father gives us. That's the ikar of Pesach. And that we still have. Mina eish o mina charav hitzaltanu ubelibenu tamnu. You saved us from the fire, from destruction. I will say, is obviously written before the war, right? This is not a wartime piece. The Chavas HaTalmidim was before the war. So he's talking about historical destruction. You saved us from our historical destruction. Ves hahalal kamom lifnim gam ata lefanav nashin. I will say, you know what's incredible? The same halal that we sang in the Beis Hamikdash is the same halal we sing now. I'll say, what a beautiful and profound observation. Right, we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, we don't have a Karban Pesach, but it's the same halal. Lo avelos v'lo atzos misoraris ata. You know what's interesting? When Pesach comes, you don't feel a sense of loss, and you don't feel a sense of mourning over the fact that we don't have a Beis Hamikdash. Rak ga'aguim al ri'iyas hod kidushaso ve'al mishkan kvodo me'az misorim banu. So we'll say, what do we have? We have feelings of yearning. Feelings of yearning for what we want back. Hanefesh miskaberes veskala mechitzo shoveres. The soul becomes strong on Pesach, and all of the barriers between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu come tumbling down. Hevdel hamakom lo yatzu umerchak hazman lo yafer. Was also very poetic. Literally, again, geographic distance will not stop us, and ultimately, again, merchak hazman, chronological distance, right? So will also not interfere with our plans. In Geshem v'lo gvula, v'yachad im yotzim Yisrael milifnim, v'makrivi ha'pesach b'mikdash anu ovdim ata es avodos kadshenu. What is this beautiful line? When we celebrate Pesach, Rabbi Soloveitchik writes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Haya Hove V'yiyeh. He's past, present, and future. Rabbi Soloveitchik called this the unitive time consciousness. Sounds great, right? The unitive time consciousness. Kadosh Baruch Hu, there's one element of time that's Kadosh Baruch Hu. I will say, on a certain level, when we celebrate Pesach, we're celebrating Pesach with everyone who came before us, everyone who was with us, and everyone who comes after us. And also, I always do this to my children every year, that when we walk outside or open the door for Shvo Chamascha, so the beauty of Pesach, of course, it's a full moon. Remember again, Kadosh Baruch Hu purposely took us out on the 15th of the month so that there would be natural light when we were journeying, at least in the beginning of our journey in the desert. I always tell kids, look up at the moon. And isn't it incredible that the same moon you're looking at is the same moon that our grandparents looked at, is the same moon that our ancestors who left Mitzrayim looked at. It's almost like in that moment, you're living past, present, and future all at the same time. That unitive time consciousness.
What is that? You said it was, what do you call it?
Shvo Chamascha. That's when we pour the fourth cup, the cup of Elio, and we open up the door. We say, pour out your wrath upon the nations. Shvo Chamascha la goyim asher lo yiducha. Pour out your wrath. He says, Gufenu es hamatzos ofer. That's right. I'm sorry. It was Zoe, right? He says, Gufenu as... No, she's finding the afikomen, I'm sure. It was a very from dog. It was very, very from. Gufenu as hamatzos ofer. Our entire body bakes the matzah. V'nishmasa oreges kosefes v'esahalol shara. And the neshama is just yearning, pining, and the neshama is singing halal. So I will say, what an introduction to the Yom Tov of Pesach. So I will say, it is so easy to kind of get down on all of the details, right? And just feel like, this is, as they say in Yiddish, like such a krich. It's just so difficult and just so overwhelming and just so this. And the Piacezna says, no, just understand. Pesach is the Yom Tov of Chinuch. What Chassidus Baruch Hu tells us to do, that's the father telling a young child. Because remember, on Pesach, we're young children, newly emancipated. We don't know what to do with freedom. So what does the father do with young children? You don't collaborate. You educate. You educate. And how do you educate? Do this, do this, do this, do this. And when the child feels a love from his father, the child knows, whatever my father's telling me to do, it's for my benefit. So I'm going to do it. And the more I do it, the more love I feel. And the more love I feel, the more hadracha, the more guidance I want. The more chumrus I add on. Right? The more tunes I add on. Why? Because I'm trying to bolster, to amplify, and to safeguard the lessons. That, says the Piacezna, is Pesach. Now, of course, what the Piacezna did do in this piece, and we'll have to Me'er Hashem see this in subsequent pieces, is, so what are the lessons? Like, in other words, what the Piacezna is telling me is, you could go into every single halach of Pesach, and there is a life lesson to be gleaned. There's a chinuch lesson, a hadracha lesson to be gleaned. What that is, what those lessons are, and Me'er Hashem we'll see in the coming weeks, but I will say, what an incredible way to begin the Pesach season. Right? What a beautiful entry point. And hopefully in the schus of learning this beautiful piece from the Piacezna, hopefully it'll change our orientation a little bit. And kind of when we feel like a little bit overwhelmed by the details or a little bit down regarding all of the work or the avodas parach, the back-breaking labor that we have preparing for the Yom Tov, if we remember that all of those details are the chinuch and hadracha of Abba, hopefully, again, not only will we be able to perform the avodah with a smile, but we'll be able to internalize the lessons as well. Chavra, shkoyach. And we'll continue next week. Ma'ariv in the main shul.
And the dog, that's her wing.